So let us begin. The first thing, as always, is that I want to identify the IP address of my target machine. In a real-life scenario, it would be as simple as finding the website of the company that's being targeted and then pinging the URL, or doing some more research to discover what IP addresses they have. In our case, because it's a VM that I'm giving to you, we're going to be doing the same exercise that we've done earlier after we boot the VM. And I'm going to be using the Net Discover tool to do a discovery on the range of my VM. And as you can see here, I have a number of IP addresses. The one that I'm going to be targeting is the 192.168.190.132. Obviously, for you, it's going to be something different. Now that I have identified the IP address, the second step is going to be for me to discover what services are running on this IP address or what ports are open. And to do that, I'm going to be using everybody's favorite tool, Nmap. And I'll do Nmap -v for verbose, -sv to see the versions of the services that are being detected, and -p- which says scan all ports from 0 to 65535. And then obviously I need to put the IP address. I'll let that run. And let's review the result together. I can see here that I have two ports. The first port is port 80, which appears to be closed. This is usually an indication of a firewall being present that is blocking access to this port. Keep that in mind because this is a key piece of information that is going to be useful and handy as we progress. The second port that appears to be open is port 8080. And it doesn't look like Nmap was able to clearly recognize the service, although it returned some data. So what I'd like to do now is I want to go and double check whether port 8080 is a web port or not. So I have to go and investigate this port manually because unfortunately Nmap wasn't able to provide me a lot of information about it. But I can see here that there was some kind of an HTTP request happening. So I'm hoping that this is going to be some kind of an HTTP port and I should be able to access it using my web browser. So I'll go ahead and open the web browser. I'll put the IP address followed by :8080. And I get presented by a web page. So this is great news. That means that I was able to successfully identify the service running on port 8080, which is a web service, despite the fact that Nmap wasn't able to clearly identify what the service is. It looks like a pretty simple website without much going on. However, what catches my attention is this small tag here that says powered by struts. And if I hover the mouse over it, it looks like it's a clickable link. So let me click on that. And indeed, it is a clickable link. It redirects me to another link that says welcome and some kind of information about something called struts. So that means if I were to target this IP address, my options look fairly limited. There's only one service running, which we identified to be a web service. And there's also something called struts running on it, which as of now, I don't have a lot of information on. I need to be doing a little bit more research about it. So the next step is I'm going to fire up a vulnerability scanner and try to scan the target machine. Hopefully, I will be able to find some vulnerabilities that I can quickly exploit. So let's go ahead and do that.